It says
it's live. We're live, baby.
All right. I thought we were having an issue there for a second.
I hear you. But I think we're all good. I think everything is good. So let's get it kicked off, dude.
All right. We're just live on the YouTube tonight. Not sure what's going on with Twitter, but
yeah. What
the hell? Yeah, Carter, how are we doing? We're back live on the Andre Duke Show.
Bro, it has been a fucking night. I gotta tell you, I am all over the place right now. Like, I apologize if this goes off the rails a little bit here, and I'm gonna try my best to go through everything. But man, fucking night. I have my kids tonight. I always have them Tuesdays and Thursdays and every other weekend, and 50-50 custody, all that stuff. But we went to dinner. I'm not going to say the establishment because I actually like this place, and normally the service is very good. But we got there at like 5:30. Fucking sat down, ordered the kids drinks, an appetizer. Appetizer didn't come for like 30 minutes, and I was like, all right, no big deal. We ordered the pizza at that time, so it's like 6 o'clock. I'm sitting there, my kids. And you ain't got to call them out, Zach. But anyways, pizza doesn't come for like an hour. I'm supposed to have my kids back by 7:15 so that I can get here to the show at 7:30. I'm texting my ex-wife like, hey, it's going to be like 7:30, trying to get this show moved. Losing my mind. Pizza gets there. It's fucking trash. Kids won't even eat it. So I box up the pizza, get the kids home, rush back to my house. I get in my house. It's fucking 75 fucking degrees in my house right now. So if you see me sweating, it's because it's hot as fuck in here. And I don't know what the hell happened. I turned the AC down. We're going to see what happens. Then I get my headphones on. I get all set up. Fucking headphones won't work. So I apologize if my audio shit. It's just been one of those nights, man. But hey, we're going to power through it. We're going to keep a positive outlook. It's going to be a good show, man. We got a lot to talk about tonight, lot to go over, all kinds of shit happening in the world of sports today. So, hey, overall, good week. Had a great day. Just been a fucking weird-ass night with all kinds of shit going on. But how about you, Duke? How's your night going?
Going pretty good. I, same old. Can't complain. Just taking it one day at a time. So...
Yep. God damn it. Did I put 2 R's on the headline? Motherfucker. Yep. There it is. There's 2 R's in Harbaugh. Fuck. Yeah, I did do the headline. That's just, it's a fucking symbol of my day, Zach. It felt so hard to add an extra R. Sometimes you got to do that. We'll clean that up on the post game show. But anyways, let's jump into it, dude. It's been a day. We had a lot going on. Let's go through just kind of what's going on in the world of sports today. I don't know if you're following the Olympics very closely, but I know a lot of stuff happening today. U.S. Escaped defeat by Serbia in the men's basketball game today. They were down, 15 at one point or something, and then Stephen Curry and LeBron James put the team on their back and brought them back. So they're going to be playing for gold here in 2 days or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I was hearing some of the chatter. I was seeing it. Could you imagine if Serbia would have beaten the United States?
I would say that might have been similar to what was it, the 2008 team that didn't medal.
Yeah,
and they had the Redeem team in 2012, I think it was.
Yes,
it would have been a similar situation where you can't have this team of superstars. I mean, you're talking about LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, AD, Ant, not to mention Devin Booker. Like, I mean, these guys don't win gold. It's a fucking massive failure. And I think they're going to have France in the gold medal game. So it's kind of a home game for France. And that place is going to be popping. But I don't give a fuck. Name a French basketball player. I'll wait.
Tony Parker.
No, one that actually plays. Like, not some old dude that used to play.
Probably Wemby.
Yeah, exactly. Wemby. That's it. And if we got the Monstars and they got Michael Jordan without fucking the Looney Tunes, he can't win. So we're good. I'm calling it now. U.S. by 20. bring the gold home.
That's a bold prediction.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen. But outside of that, man, I don't know. I've been following this guy real close. I love his attitude, man. The sprinter, Noah Lyles. Have you followed him at all? You know who he is? You know a little bit about him?
Yeah, he is a football recruit as well.
Yeah.
I believe.
He's a talker, man. And I like people that talk. So he's been talking that shit and he backed it up in the 100, won the gold. And he said his goal coming in was get the double, which hasn't been done for America since Carl Lewis. And obviously Usain Bolt had like 3 in a row or something historically stupid, difficult, but ran the 200 today, came in 3rd, didn't win it. So doesn't complete the second leg of the double. Huge letdown, man. You can't be talking all that shit. I'm the second fastest man ever. I'm the fastest man on the planet. And then go out there and get bronze. That just, I don't respect it. Now, you know what they said now? I don't know if you saw this, but it came out that he has COVID. That's why he didn't win gold. Let the excuses flow. No, just get fucking better. Come back in 4 years and do it again. But anyways, fuck. It's got 7 guards on their roster. That's a French team. That's fucking incredible. Yeah.
Hey.
I don't care. US by 20. But let's get into some college football stuff. That's enough about the Olympics. And I don't talk basketball, so I don't even know why I brought that up. But
that is the longest basketball segment we've had on the show, NBA wise.
NBA wise for sure. We did talk college basketball a bit, but NBA wise, 100%. But so a lot of stuff coming out from Ohio State, from different programs across the country. I saw that OSU backup linebacker Stover ran 23.5 miles per hour. That's what it was clocked at. Now, this was gone over on other shows, and I've heard a lot about it. And I'm just gonna call it how it is. Fucking bullshit. Bull fucking shit. That guy ran 23.5 miles per hour. That's no. There's no chance. A white linebacker, no chance.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Will Howard ran like 22 miles an hour.
Bullshit, he did. I'm sorry. That's not true. That's just not true. All right. Like I get it. It's funny season. It was funny season. We're supposed to be out of that now, but it's still funny season. Apparently these strength and conditioning coaches have got their radar guns tuned up a little too high. I think there's no way. Cause you're telling me I was listening to the show earlier, at Zach's show, and he was talking about it. And the fastest recorded time in NFL history is Tyreek Hill at 23.1. You're telling me that the backup linebacker, who's I'm not racist, but he's white, ran faster than Tyreek Hill?
That's a lot of No. All right. Yes. I gotta come out with the real take on that. Yes. No way.
No chance. Exactly, Zach. No, their radar gun is miscalibrated if it's ever been calibrated. They got Will Howard at 22 and Stover at 23.5. There's no way. I mean, he's outrunning a dude named Cheetah that ran a 4.29. That's just not even possible.
Well,
and if that's a fact, if he did run 23.5, which I know he didn't, but if he did, that motherfucker better be on the field on Saturday.
He better be returning punts
or something, but he won't be. But anyways, that's just, I saw that and I was like, dude, come on. Like, we got to stop bullshit. Like, just stop bullshitting. It's okay. He's fast. I think he runs like a 4.45 in the 40. Like, he's a fast linebacker. I'm not discounting that, but like, we don't need to come out here with all these outlandish claims that he ran 23.5 miles per hour. Like, no, he didn't. Nobody in the history of the NFL has ever run that fast. And you're telling me that a backup linebacker at Ohio State did? Get out of here. That's just ridiculous. But then this was Laurinaitis, the linebackers coach at Ohio State, is the one saying all of this. So you take it for a grain of salt. But he also did come out and say that CJ Hicks is going to lead the team in sacks this year.
Yikes.
I would love to see that. That'd be great for Ohio State.
It would be great, but then that means to me that JTT and Jack Sawyer did not progress in the offseason. That's the only thing that would say to me. Or they're going to be, or there's going to be a totally different scheme front in the Noles defense.
Yeah, I think my takeaway on that is if that's true, CJ Hicks is going to be playing like a freak position, like just roaming around, just causing havoc, which I would love to see that. Dude's an absolute monster. It would be great. But I don't – this is the same – not Laurinaitis, but the same coaching staff that told us they can't wait to unleash CJ Hicks last year, and they didn't play him. So –
oh, yeah.
Just more stuff that, but overall, I hope that's true. I love CJ Hicks. I think he's going to be a great player. But then there was all kinds of stuff. Yeah, they got rid of the jack position. He said they're more likely to play 5-down lineman than use a jack. So if CJ Hicks isn't playing jack, I don't know what he's playing, but he better be out there if he's going to. And if he leads the team in sacks while rotating as a third linebacker, then everybody sucks. But well, how do you feel about Jameis Winston, Duke?
I watched the clip.
Well,
I mean, the guy should be up for what is that? The Pulitzer Prize?
Something. Let's play the clip. If you haven't seen it, dude, this is one of my favorite clips I've ever seen, honestly. Let me get it up here.
I think that's one of the things that a lot of people forget. When you can go out, you can see practice, you can knick-knack, this, that, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. Deshaun Watson is going to turn it on. He always going to find a way to shine when the lights come on. Man, I just rhymed. Oh my, can I leave off that one? I know that one going to hit. I think.
So, dude, that is like, come on, man. That's gold. That is gold. I want that man on my team every year.
Considering, he is the eat the W guy. So what are you going to say?
Yeah, I'm good with it. I'm good with it, man. He is absolutely – and the thing is, he's talking about the guy that's in front of him. He's talking about Deshaun Watson. He's talking about the guy that he technically should be competing with. But he is the biggest hype man in the world. And you just know that guy is absolutely loved in the locker room, man.
Oh, could you imagine what do you think Hard Knocks is going to be? Because this season they're following the AFC North.
Oh, yeah, in-season Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
I've never watched in-season Hard Knocks, so I don't know much about it, but I'm definitely going to watch it this year. They're going to follow the AFC North. The amount of gold that Jameis Winston is going to put on camera.
And you're going to have Lamar Jackson on there if they're following the AFC North, and you're going to have the interesting dynamic of Patrick Queen playing the Ravens.
Yeah, and you'll have Justin Fields and Russell Wilson's dynamic. You'll have Joe Burrow, Joe Cool. I mean, it's going to be awesome. I think that was a smart decision to follow the whole division because, first of all, it's the best division in the NFL by far, not even close.
And I'm really shocked that the Steelers agreed to it.
I think the reason they probably did is because it's not just the Steelers, like the whole AFC North. So they're not going to be as followed as like if it was just them.
Because I know for the longest time, Hard Knocks was after the Steelers forever because it's going to be monster ratings.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. And I'm sure the teams have not full editorial control, but a lot of editorial control to make sure anything they don't want included in the episode won't be. Otherwise, they wouldn't sign up for it. But no, man, that clip just cracked me up. And then getting back, I forgot. I should have talked about this when we were talking about Ohio State. But I'm all over the place tonight. But so are you ready to call it? Because I'm ready to call it. Will Howard's going to be the starting quarterback at Ohio State.
here's my take on that.
Mhm.
I think you got to keep everybody engaged.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying he's going to name him that today, but
Here's where this reminds me of that guy that came in, Mr. Quinn Ewers. And it is a loaded quarterback room right now because you have Lincoln Keenholz, you have Julian Sand, you have Devin Brown, and then you have Will Howard. And then next year, and I forgot Aaron Nolan. So you're going to lose Will Howard, and you're going to enter Tavion St. Clair. This is the problem because Lincoln Keenholz probably is not going to be a Buckeye. If he stays, great, but I don't know what you do with him. At this point, I don't know what you do with him. And
it depends on how athletic he is. He seems to be a really good athlete. You could probably find somewhere else on the field for him.
Well, what do you do with Aaron Noland? Because
tell him that Julian's going to be gone before Air's gone, and you can play as a senior.
Well, what do you? This is.
Yeah, you just keep redshirt. I mean, you're not going to keep all these guys. That's what you're getting at, and I know that's and that's fine though. But that's a good problem to have. I would much rather have that problem than not have a guy, right?
Yeah,
like I got 5 guys. Not like this year's done. Everybody's staying through this year. Next year, you lose Will Howard. You got Devin Brown, assuming he stays. You got Lincoln, Julian, Air, Tavion. If you lose Lincoln, that's not a huge hit because he was always a project. Devin's going to be the assumed starter. Julian's going to be the backup or pushing him for the starting role. And obviously, if Julian gets the starting role, then Devin's transferring. But ultimately, you really just need 3 of those guys to stick it out.
Right. And you also, I mean, the way that immediate eligibility works, you always got to keep the coffers restocked. And I'll just be, on this show, if you look at our track record has been pretty decent about forecasting the future. Whenever it comes to Notre Dame, a little bit of a forecast, I would be shocked coming out of spring ball. This is the problem I have with what Ryan does sometimes. He doesn't. There's no declared starter. And going into spring ball, I think it'll separate itself on who is going to be the guy, and probably 1 or 2 of those guys is going to leave. That's the problem.
Like I said, you just need to keep 3. I mean, you're going to have other recruits as well, transfers, things like that can come in. I wouldn't worry too much about that, honestly. And I mean, outside of the past 2 years, Ryan's done a pretty good job of naming a starter quickly. Like CJ, it took a minute, but it was pretty well known and it was pretty quick into fall. But other than that, I mean, there's never been a question. And so I think going into next year, you're going to have Devin either be head and shoulders above and name the starter quickly, or it'll be a battle and Julian will take control. That's how I see it. But I wouldn't count Air out either, because I think with a year of development, Aaron Nolan is still a really talented kid and could get in the mix. But regardless of all that and forecasting the future and everything, I do want to talk about Ryan Day's comments on Will Howard today. So let me just show you those real quick.
The only last thing that I can throw out there on the quarterback situation at Ohio State, remember when we had the decision between Quinn Ewers and Kyle McCord, and how did that work out?
Well, that was never really a decision. Like, they knew CJ was going to start, and Ryan mishandled that for sure, because he told Quinn Ewers Kyle McCord will never play quarterback at Ohio State, and then he gave Kyle McCord all the reps in practice over Quinn, and that's why Quinn left. But he didn't. I mean, I think Ryan was just trying to tell Quinn what he needed to hear to get him here. And then he thought he would be able to keep him here long enough that he would beat out Quinn Ewers. Obviously, would have beat out Kyle McCord. I think we know that.
Think of it this way: looking at that from where it was that the right decision? Because
at the time, probably, because you got to remember, Quinn didn't show up until halfway through fall camp. The guy doesn't know the playbook. How are you supposed to put him in there and give him reps when another guy's been here for a year, knows the playbook, can go out there and effectively execute the offense in practice?
Did we at some point have the Daddy McCord effect in there?
Oh, maybe maybe. I don't know if Daddy McCord had enough pull back then, because Ryan really didn't need Kyle. And it wasn't until Ryan thought he needed Kyle that I think he bowed down to him. But maybe I don't know the dynamic at that point. I know what it was last year, and that definitely had an impact. And obviously, Ryan finally stood up to him and said, "Hey, Derek, shut the fuck up. Your kid's not that great. We're not going to guarantee him the starting position. If you want to leave, go ahead."
And that's why you are in upstate New York.
Yeah, and he's going to have a great year. Maybe ACC Player of the Year. We'll see. But anyways, here let's talk. Let's listen to Ryan talk about Will Howard and the quarterback battle today.
Been mixing it up a little bit, but you're starting to see he and Devin get a little bit more lion's share of the reps with the ones. I will say that he's taken command of the huddle at the line of scrimmage. I think he's much more confident out there. No decisions have been made. We're gonna probably scrimmage a little bit on Saturday. By then we'll take an evaluation and kind of see where we're at. But both guys are getting reps with the ones. But I will say that Will really has taken some strides here in the last couple practices, taking control of the offense, making plays on third down. Again, hasn't won the job, but we have seen some positive play about that. Yeah,
So I think that's Ryan's way of giving Will Howard a public acknowledgement that he's in the lead.
Well, I think it's a big vote of confidence that you've got, and it's just one of those things.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I think that is – you never heard that last year.
No.
You never heard him say Kyle McCord has a lot of confidence, is taking control of the huddle, is making plays, anything. You never heard him say it about Devin either. And so that's why that competition lingered on and even into the season. But I think Saturday is a pivotal day for Will Howard. I still think Devin Brown has a chance to win the job if Will Howard doesn't take that next step. But I think it's Will Howard's job to lose at this point.
I think Will Howard's been in the lead ever since. And I think the big thing that helped Will Howard make the transition was because when Chip Kelly got there, they got there together,
mm-hmm.
and was able to work through install. And I mean, the playbook probably didn't dramatically change. Maybe some lingo, maybe a little bit of this and some running plays. But I think, Will Howard being able to run the quarterback is huge. I've heard everybody say that adds an element to the game that nobody has seen in a while.
Mm-hmm. I agree completely. So, I mean, I think that's where we're at, and it'll probably end up being Will Howard. I hope that's the right choice. I love Devin Brown. I think Devin Brown has the opportunity to be a really good quarterback. I think he sticks it out through the year and anticipates being the starting quarterback next year. But that's our Ohio State update. I don't want to get too much into Ohio State on this show, but I just thought those comments were interesting. I thought it was interesting how they're just blowing smoke up everybody's ass about how fast everybody is and everything like that. But let's talk a little fun here. A little bit about some uniforms.
Oh, here we go.
There was a uniform drop today, or maybe it was yesterday. I forget when it was, but might be the best uniform ever. I'm kidding. It's one of the worst uniforms I've ever seen in my life. And they're going to wear it against the University of Michigan and get their ass absolutely kicked. And I just want your opinion on these. So let me put it up here for everybody to see. I'm sure everybody's seen it by now. I would hope so. What the fuck are we doing, man?
What is that?
What the fuck are we doing?
What is that?
That is one of the most just disgusting uniforms I've ever seen.
Who came up with that?
And I really wish that like
Whoop.
I could get players to comment, and I want to know how they feel when they put it on. Because as a former football player, man, when you put on a fucking clean uniform, you got some fucking wristbands, gloves, you're all spatted up, you're ready to go, man. You just feel clean, you feel good, you're ready to play. Bro, if I put that on, I'd be like, bro, I look like a fucking idiot right now. How am I about to go play Michigan? Are you kidding me? You're gonna put me in this and send me out there to play the defending national champions? Dude, what the fuck? Like, are you trying to embarrass me?
That is wild.
And the helmets, dude, like, I get it. You're going for the old school leather helmet look, but it fucking looks awful.
That, for everybody listening on audio, you gotta minimize it and just Google the University of Illinois' new uniforms. And
go Illinois alternate uniform, and it'll be the first thing that pops up. I promise you. It's fucking awful. I just like, what are we doing? I hope Burt Bielema designed these himself, because that's the only explanation.
Whoever made that decision deserves to be canned. If I walk into the locker room and that is hanging in my locker, I'm not wearing that.
Yeah, dude, I would be like, nah, I'll sit this one out. We were going to get our ass kicked anyways.
Illinois, their uniforms from the past really aren't that bad. Like when they went to the Big I was like, I didn't like that. Yeah. I like the Illinois spelled out on the side of the helmet.
That's clean. I even like when they throw the alternate with like the headdress. Like, I know you can't do that anymore probably, but like, that's cool.
Yeah, but
I like the Juice Williams days, baby.
Yeah, like when that's not it.
No, that is definitely not it. Definitely not. I mean, it's atrocious.
It is almost
one of the worst.
It's just like it's
awful. It's awful. Here's a fun trivia. I brought him up, and I love Juice Williams. And who was the running back when Juice Williams was there? Do you remember?
Rashard Mendenhall, I believe.
I was hoping you would get it. Yeah, Rashard Mendenhall and Juice Williams, man. That was the heyday of Illinois football in my life. But yeah, that's just not it. Like, we can all agree, and they're gonna lose fucking 45-0 because of it. All their players are gonna feel like shit when they go out there, and it's just that's not. I don't know why you do that. I don't know who signed off on that. Like, if somebody brought that to me and was like, hey, I think this is going to be the alternate uniform. And like, maybe it was Nike and you can't really like tell them no because they write the checks. But I had to look at my Nike rep and be like, bro, come on, we can do better, right? Like, I see what you do for Oregon.
It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. But, oh, here we go. Defending national champs, but who's coaching them? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, dude, those uniforms are terrible. And like I said, they're going to be playing the University of Michigan. So segues perfectly into our next topic. Some news came out, and we got an update on all the scandals going on at the University of Michigan. And our boy, I said that joking.
Whoops.
Oh, our boy Jim Harbaugh with one R received a 4-year show cause and a 1-year suspension for the Connor Stallions scandal, you might ask? No, for the Burgergate, for recruiting violations during COVID and lying about it and feeding a recruit a burger. I mean,
no, he ordered a burger.
Oh, he ordered. That's right. He ordered. It was breakfast, bro. Who orders a burger at breakfast? I mean, I'm not against it. Burgers are delicious, but like, You go to a breakfast restaurant, I'm sure they got some fire ass fucking omelets, like biscuits and gravy, all kinds of shit. And you're gonna be like, nah, I'll get a cheeseburger.
I believe it was a cheeseburger and a glass of milk.
Of course. Fucking God, what a weird dude, man. Anyways, if he's gonna get a 4-year show cause for that, just wait.
Well, with everything coming out and what's his attorney's name? Mars, I believe.
Tom Mars, yep.
They are staving off the inevitable right now because the Harbaugh stuff, but we can dive into the Sharon Moore aspect of this because there's tons of pictures of Connor Stallion standing behind him.
Oh yeah.
I think if you go watch Sharon Moore's press conferences leading up into spring ball, I think he knows. I think he knows he's getting gonna get whacked here.
Probably.
I would say him, Ward Emanuel. This will be Michigan's second time of getting a lack of institutional control because they got one back in the early '90s for the Fab Five with Ed Martin.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing that happened at the University of Michigan with the Ed Martin stuff is that he ended up passing away.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when these big cases are made like this, when it comes to the aspect of investigations and things, like I said, Monday, there is somebody leading them to the evidence because they just didn't happen to stumble upon this. And, Sonny Dykes made a public statement about it, about how TCU needed to change their signs going into playing Michigan. And the crazy thing is that nobody blew the whistle on it. It was Matt Weiss, when he got caught up in his investigation, is what led them to this. And then U.S. Integrity got involved, and I think they called the NCAA and said, hey, you might want to look at this. And, it's been reported, 58 games of Stallions doing this. And the people that were there in the past are, if I'm Ed Warner, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I am very nervous. If I am somebody that worked on that staff from 21 till up until Harbaugh left, I am nervous.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just my thing is, I think, and I wouldn't be shocked if, well, let's go through Tom Mars' comments first, because I think it's going to depict exactly what I'm about to say. But Tom Mars is a very well-known lawyer in Michigan. If you're fighting anything, he's probably the guy you want. But he is Jim Harbaugh's lawyer. He had comments come out about all this, and he said, the way I see it from Coach Harbaugh's perspective, today's COI decision is like being in college and getting a letter from your high school saying you've been suspended because you didn't sign the yearbook. He goes on to say, if I were in Coach Harbaugh's shoes and had an $80 million contract as the head coach of the Chargers, I wouldn't pay any attention to the findings of a kangaroo court which claims to represent the principles of the nation's most flagrant and repeat violator of federal antitrust laws. That right there tells you all you need to know. Jim Harbaugh has decided he's never coaching college football again. He has no interest in doing it. He's going to stay in the NFL for as long as he can and then be done. And I don't give a fuck if you give me a lifetime ban. I'm not coming back. I don't care. So I think Michigan and Jim Harbaugh is telling the NCAA, listen, pin it all on Harbaugh. Give him all the penalties.
Well, I think that is how all this got leaked.
Yeah.
And that was something that Kirk Barton said on Buckeye Scoop, that when it comes to the Harbaugh stuff, he said Michigan is leaking this.
Probably.
It's not the NCAA, because the NCAA has nothing to gain by leaking this.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan does, because you have the Cowherds of the world, but Colin's a really smart radio host and knows how to get people fired up.
Yep.
And I do think that when it comes down to this, I think the NFL will step in, because whenever they decide to release the gambling cookies and things of that sort, that is when they are going to the NFL may put boot to ass.
Yeah, absolutely. And Zach asked that question: does the NFL step in? It's happened before, for sure. I mean, the thing, and Tressel got like an 8-game suspension from the NFL because of what happened in Tattoo Gate. Pete Carroll didn't get any suspension, but he wasn't given a show cause. He wasn't penalized. It was USC that was penalized. The NFL might step in, and if they do, it'll probably be a minor suspension. I mean, 8 games is kind of a lot, but Tressel wasn't the head coach at that point, so it didn't really matter for him. But I think the NFL, if what I'm hearing, and I think there is more to it, and as they dig into it, and I think Michigan's playing this really close to the vest and playing this, in my opinion, the right way by not cooperating, because I think if they cooperated, they would get a much more severe punishment, because I think you would find out that there's a lot more to it. And I think there is gambling implications and things like that that aren't being talked about because there's no, because people haven't found that out yet. If that does come out that there was gambling stuff and money laundering type things, then you're going to get the NFL to step in big time, because they don't play when it comes to that, because they're making so much money off legal sports gambling that they're not going to fucking let the golden goose die because Jim Harbaugh wants to coach.
Right. And I also feel when it comes down to this whole situation, you just gotta attack it with enthusiasm unknown to man.
You know, if worms were machine guns, birds wouldn't fly, or whatever he said. Like whatever. Like, yeah, exactly. But
It's just the fact the guy's an absolute weirdo, and he's guilty as hell. He knows it. What am I going to do? Just spin cycle and hope and pray the NFL does not suspend me.
And I can't understand people that defend him. I can't. I get it. He's a good ball coach. He's really good at coaching football for the most part. I mean, he wasn't very good at Michigan for a long time. I don't know what happened there, but everywhere else he's been good. And then he had to cheat to get good at Michigan, but eventually he got good. But he's a really good football coach. But how do you defend this guy? He is blatantly lying to your face every time he gets in front of a microphone. He is blatantly sociopathic when it comes to it. He believes the bullshit that he spews. The dude went up there and talked about values and how never lie, never cheat, never steal. Motherfucker, you just got a goddamn suspension for lying to the NCAA. How are you going to sit up there and tell me, like, I've taught that to my kids, I've taught that to my programs, to my teams, never lie, never cheat, never steal, after you just did all 3 of those motherfucking things?
All you got to do is, another plug for Buckeye Scoop. Go watch Barton's, I think, Monday episode where he has the clip. I should get a hold of Kirk and see if we could use his like 2-minute video where he draws it up on the telestrator when CJ and everybody does this, looks over at the sideline. You know what all of Michigan's coaches do? Look directly at the sideline. Yeah. And then after they sign it in, they go like this. They all point up because it was a run or pass or whatever it was.
Yeah.
If the NCAA splices if they splice all of the film together with the sideline action, it's just not gonna bode well.
No. And bottom line is, I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen, because I'm pretty sure of what's going to happen. And fans, Buckeye fans, Notre Dame fans, college football fans that want a quick decision on this, I hate to break it to you, they aren't going to deal out a punishment on the Stallion scandal for probably another 12 months. It's just not going to happen. There's but By the time they have 90 days to respond to the letter of allegations, after they respond, then the NCAA has to continue their investigation. But in that 90 days, they can file an injunction to get another 90 days. So there's 180 days, which is 6 months, and potentially another 90 days, which is 9 months. So they're going to continue to file injunctions, push this along, get through this season. So there's not going to be a postseason ban for this season. 12 months from now, what's going to come down is the NCAA is going to put out all their findings. It's going to be everything we already know, everything that's already proven as fact. I would be surprised if there was much more to it than what we already know, just because I don't think they're going to be able to get their hands on the hard drives and everything else that maybe more would be on. So you're looking at 7 level 1 violations and 1 level 2. You're going to get show causes for Harbaugh. He's probably going to get like a 10-year show cause with a 3-year suspension because who the fuck cares? And then Sharon Moore will get a 1-year show cause. The other guys that are all gone will get a 4 or 5-year show cause. They're going to vacate the wins from 21 and 22. They're going to vacate any bowl wins they had then. They're not going to vacate 23. They're going to let them keep the natty. They might reduce their scholarships by a couple. But ultimately, it's going to be a whole lot of nothing. I mean, they're going to get a hammer. They're going to have to vacate those wins. So Ohio State, good for you. You didn't lose to them those years, technically. We all saw you do it, though. But I mean, that's what the penalty is going to be. Unless there's a smoking gun that somehow gets found that implicates this stuff further, it's nothing more. And ultimately, that's all you could ask for. I mean, what more do people want? I mean, do you want them to get the death penalty? Because that's not going to happen.
I don't think that's realistic. I mean, you've seen what that did to SMU. It completely demolished the program forever. I don't think the NCAA wants to completely demolish the program now. Do I think that – I don't know where this leaves Sharon Moore. I think that if there's anything that ties him to Stallions at all, I think he's nuked.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to jump on this one because you just said it. Zach, I don't think the Big Ten does anything because I don't think there's been any new evidence uncovered since they originally did the suspension to Harbaugh, which was their answer for all of this. They already suspended him for it. So I don't think the Big Ten will do anything. I think they're going to leave it up to the NCAA at this point. They already handed out their punishment for what they thought was going on. And I think the Big Ten is going to wash their hands of it and move on because what you have to remember, there's a lot of members in the Big Ten screaming and crying and wanting a punishment and everything like that. But Michigan's also one of the biggest programs in the Big Ten. So to punish Michigan would be punishing the Big Ten, which isn't in favor of the Big Ten, right? If you ban them from a Big Ten championship game, well, what if that hurts your ratings? What if that hurts the Big Ten's pocketbook? Then that's not ideal for anyone. And so I think the Big Ten stays out of it at this point. They already did what they thought they needed to do. They'll hand it over to the NCAA, let them handle it from here.
Right. I don't think Tony Petitti will step in. Unless they take I think they're going to if the NCAA rips the natty, I'd say the Big Ten will rip the Big Ten championships.
Oh, for sure. For sure. If they have to vacate the natty, they'll vacate the Big Ten championships too.
So I think the Big Ten will follow the NCAA's lead at this point. But, I mean, with Harbaugh being my bad, but if Harbaugh being gone, I think complicates this big time.
I agree completely. But bottom line, just so everybody knows, and Michigan fans understand this, you're not being punished for stealing signs. I'm so sick of hearing Michigan fans, oh, stealing signs, everybody does it. Da, da, da. That's not what you're being punished for, dumbass. You're being punished for going above and beyond to obtain the information to steal the signs. You're being punished for in-person scouting that and nobody else does that. And if they do, They didn't get fucking caught. I'm sorry. Like I had this argument with a Michigan fan today. He was going back and forth with me about, oh, you don't think Ohio State talked to recruits when they shouldn't have in 2020 during COVID because they couldn't visit recruits, so they were texting them, or a recruit texted them, so they replied. Motherfucker, I don't care if they did. My opinion on if they did or didn't doesn't matter. You were proven that Michigan was proven that they did. If everybody else in the world did it, it doesn't make it not against the rules. That's like saying I'm speeding down the highway, going 100 miles or going 80 miles an hour. Guy passes me going 90. Cop pulls me over. Can I look at the cop and go, dude, that guy was going faster? No, motherfucker, I get the ticket because I got caught. So I don't need to hear this. Everybody else was doing it bullshit. It doesn't matter who was doing it. It matters that you guys were dumb enough to get caught. And if everybody else was doing it, sorry, be better.
And also, when it comes to this, I think it also has a effect. Look at Arizona State. The NCAA press release with Arizona State said they were exemplary and they cooperated every step of the way. They did the same thing that Michigan did, and the penalty wasn't hardly anything at all. Herm Edwards and Antonio Pierce got slapped with show causes, I believe, but Herm Edwards isn't coaching anymore, and Antonio Pierce is the coach of the Vegas Raiders. So at the end of the day, they got applauded because you know what they did? They cooperated. Harbaugh lied. And what has everybody that's ever been interviewed by the NCAA ever told me? Don't lie to them. Don't tell them anything. Don't lie to them.
Just ask Jim Tressel.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And that's like, you're not being punished for buying a hamburger. You're being punished for buying a hamburger when you shouldn't have, or buying whatever and recruiting when you shouldn't have, and then lying about it. Had you not lied about it, I was taught this as a kid. My parents came to me one time when I was young. I lied to them about something. They got mad. They punished me. And my parents came to me and they said, hey, listen, what you did, you know you shouldn't have done. But the reason we punished you, the reason we were mad is because you lied to us about it. So just don't lie to us about it. Like if you do something wrong, own up to it. Your punishment's going to be a lot less severe. That's basic fucking parenting. And the NCAA has to parent these fucking schools because they think they can get away with whatever. And the NCAA also, I mean, to be fair, the NCAA has no fucking teeth and can't do anything. And that's why North Carolina basketball and Kansas basketball told them, fuck off. You're not getting anything from us. And nobody got punished and they won natties. But in this situation, they already have the evidence. Yes. Stop lying. Cooperate.
And also, back to that, I would have just blamed Zach for whatever had happened. That's just my opinion.
You didn't grow up in my house.
I would be like, it was his fault.
Motherfucker was 6 years older and a lot bigger at the time. I wasn't blaming Zach for shit.
Yeah, I guess that is true. He probably was at one point in time intimidating when he did have a full head of hair. I'm just saying.
Anyways, but yeah, so let's move on. We got some Notre Dame update to get into. I just wanted to touch on that because Michigan fans drive me nuts, man. I mean, I get you. You guys are passionate. I love the passion. Man, I was a Michigan fan at one point. Like, I love Charles Woodson. That might be my favorite college football player of all time, not named Tim Tebow. But you guys are just delusional if you think that this isn't like that nothing's going to happen, that you guys are just, oh, no, we didn't do anything. Like, shut the fuck up. You guys did. It's fine. But anyways, we're pushing up on time here, so I want to get to some Notre Dame updates, get into a little bit. We are 23 days away from the opener against Texas A&M, which, as we'll talk about here in a minute, might be a much bigger game than we thought. But some national watch lists came out, and Notre Dame has at least 4 players on national award watch lists. I was surprised by one of these for sure, but So Mitchell Evans, the tight end who I spoke very highly of, I think he's going to be one of the better tight ends in college football. He's not going to be Michael Mayer, relax, but he's going to be one of the better tight ends in college football. He's up. He's on the watch list for the Biletnikoff, which is crazy because I don't know the last time a tight end won the Biletnikoff, if ever. On top of that, Chris Mitchell, transfer wide receiver, is on the Biletnikoff watch list. Now, Duke, you and I have been very critical of the wide receiver position in Notre Dame this offseason because I think it's going to be underwhelming, at least from what I've heard. But
Right.
how do you feel about Chris Mitchell and Mitchell Evans being on the Biletnikoff watch list?
I don't think a tight end. That's what I'm looking up right now. If a tight end's ever won the Biletnikoff, Chris Mitchell being on there, I can see why they would put him on there just to hedge their bets. He had a really good year last year at FIU, so it doesn't shock me by any means that he would be on there just so they can hedge their bets.
Yeah.
So I
me personally, yeah, go ahead.
So I think putting him on the list, it gives it a cachet because Notre Dame is tight end U.
Yeah.
So I think that it's kind of a empty. Maybe he balls out. I think Notre Dame. I don't know how much production it's going to be this year because of the offensive line issues.
Yeah, and we'll jump into that in a minute. But Chris Mitchell, so Mitchell Evans, I mean, I don't care what his odds are. If his odds are, I'm sure they're crazy. Maybe put $1 on it for just good luck. But he's not winning the Biletnikoff. I think he had 29 catches last year. Obviously, Michael Mayer, whatever. But Chris Mitchell, I'm high on Chris Mitchell. I'm not high enough to think that he's going to win the Biletnikoff, but I'm high on Chris Mitchell because everything I've heard coming out of fall camp is that he has been a stud. He's looked the best in the wide receiver room, which is important. They need that. But they haven't had they had a Biletnikoff winner in 2009 in Golden Tate. They haven't had one since. They haven't had one even sniff it. And I think Chris Mitchell is going to be a solid player, but I mean, you're talking about putting up 1,500 yards, 10 plus touchdowns. Like, no, that's not going to happen for him. The offense isn't built that way or anything like that. And then you got Kevin Bauman and Riley Leonard on the watch list for comeback player of the year. Riley Leonard is also on the watch list for the Davey O'Brien. I think I haven't looked at the odds, and I really wish I should have. If I hadn't been fucking stuck at dinner for 6 hours, I probably would have pulled up the odds on Riley Leonard because Riley Leonard for comeback player of the year might be something that I put some money on because I think Riley Leonard is going to have a good year. And after his injuries last year, I think he could be one of the top 3 locks for comeback player of the year. And so I don't know what his odds are, but I'm going to look it up. And if they're plus 300 or better, I'm probably going to put some money on that. I really like that bet. I think Riley Leonard is going to have a good year, assuming he stays healthy. Now, that's always the question. We've talked about that a lot on this show. I think that's going to be the question of the day. But yeah, so, I mean, it's always good to have players on those watch lists. That means you're doing something right. Obviously, Notre Dame's name carries a lot of weight. So some of the players get put on these watch lists just because of that. I saw something that there's a running back or 2 that are on the Doak watch list, but they weren't on the national one that I saw. But you're not going to get a Doak Walker award winner out of Notre Dame right now. There's just too many running backs that are going to touch the ball.
I would say probably the Doak winner will probably be what is that? Eddie Golden or whatever from Oklahoma State.
Yeah, probably. I think my dark horse for it is Quinshon Judkins, though.
I think that it's going to be too much split carries. I'm not saying that Quinshon ain't going to be probably the best back in college football. Yeah. I think Ohio State's got 2 out of the top 3. So
yeah, Absolutely. And that's what's going to hurt him stat wise, but I think he'll be the best running back. And I think he will go for probably 12 to 1,500 yards, and Travian will go for another 1,000. I think they're going to run the ball so much that it's going to be insane. And I think Quinshon's going to be the pass catcher, so that'll help. But also, have you ever seen Bruce Feldman's freak list? You know what that is?
Yeah.
He just shows freaky athletes. Well, Notre Dame had 2 guys on that list. And this clip I thought was cool. I'm going to share it real quick here. Hold on.
Oh, from the weight room?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's
So, I mean, that's cool, man. Like, I love that. What up, Bo? Like, Riley Mills and Bo just going back and forth. Bo Collins. I mean, they are freaks, man. 525 on the bar ain't no joke.
Well,
No.
and we've talked about this. This is Bo Collins. I mean, this is his shit or get off the pot year for him. So, I mean, he needs to go all out.
Yeah. And I love that he's coming in and he's putting in the work. I know he didn't get here right away. And so he's a little behind the 8 ball there. I hope Bo Collins goes out there and balls out this fall and just takes over that number 1 spot. I mean, I've said it for months. They need a wide receiver to come in and claim that room and be the guy. They don't have the luxury of having Ohio State's wide receiver room. So when you get somebody like Bo Collins, who is a highly recruited wide receiver that comes in, that's a freak athlete, man, you got to go put that boy on blast. You got to go get him the ball. And so, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. 5'10". I've done, I think, I'm trying to think. I don't remember. I was right around 500 or something was my max in high school, but it's no joke. Now, I will say, not to shit on Riley Mills or anybody, but I just saw this motherfucking Nick Chubb do 525 6 months after having fucking knee repair surgery. So,
Which, you know, when it comes to squatting, you're at a disadvantage whenever you're like 6'6". Also,
you're bigger.
I'm just saying.
But yeah. So I hope he comes in and does that. I do want to get back up to this right here. We'll talk about this, and then we'll talk about the offensive line and some stuff and some recruiting stuff and get out of here. It's going to be a little longer than an hour today because I was ranting and raving to start out. So, Zach, I appreciate the question. What's your take on Marcus Freeman this year? Love the dude. I really hope he crushes it. Killing themselves by not joining the conference. Multifaceted question. I will say we've talked at nauseum about Marcus Freeman and what this year means. I think this year is his make or break year. He has had 2 years to get his guys into the program. He's had 2 years to build his culture. He's had 2 years of not substandard performance, but not quite up to what was expected when he was hired. And this year, the schedule's set up. He's got 3 pretty tough games, a couple other decently tough games, but all in all, it's a 11-win season or better, or he's going to be answering some questions. He hasn't figured out the quarterback position. He keeps doing this Sam Hartman, Riley Leonard transfer quarterback thing, which not that doesn't work. Other programs have done it and been somewhat successful. But I love Marcus Freeman. I would run through a brick wall for him every time I listen to him. He seems like the type of dude that could get the most out of every player. I think he's a great coach. I think he is doing his best in recruiting. He was doing really well, and we'll jump into some more recruiting stuff in a minute. But all in all, it's a make or break year for him, just like it is for Ryan Day. So I think he has this year to go 10-2, 11-1, and make the playoffs, and that'll take some of the heat off of him. as long as he doesn't get absolutely shelled in the playoffs. I can tell you as a Notre Dame fan, Notre Dame fans are sick of regular season greatness and then going to a bowl game or a playoff and getting fucking destroyed. It happens every year, and I'm sick of it. So 10-2 is the bare minimum that's expected of him. And 10-2 better get you in the playoffs, and then you better win a game or at least be competitive against a good team. If they get like a 5 seed or a 7 seed and they're playing a lesser team and they get shelled, there's going to be some heat on him next year. He's not going anywhere, but he's going to be here for at least another year after this. I don't think barring an absolute catastrophe and going like 7-5 or something. But that's my opinion on that. Now, as far as Notre Dame not joining the conference, I am not the guy to talk about that because I disagree with you. I think Notre Dame is doing what they need to do right now. I think eventually they'll join a conference because I think the college football landscape changes so constantly that that's going to happen eventually. But ultimately, they haven't lost anything by not being in a conference right now. I mean,
No,
they're
I don't.
about the same amount of money as every conference, a little bit less than the Big Ten and SEC, but more than the ACC and Big 12. So financially, it's not hurting them. They maintain their ability to control their own schedule and everything. Like they have so much control over what they do that they wouldn't have if they were in a conference. That I think and the AD came out and said it this year. Like there's never been a better time for Notre Dame football to be independent than right now. Now I think that all changes over the course of time because all it takes is the Big Ten and SEC to come out and say, hey, you're not allowed to play our teams. And then they're going to be scrambling, obviously, because the ACC is on its way out and they play a mostly ACC schedule with a few now Big Ten teams involved and things like that. But until the Big Ten tells them you're not allowed to play USC, you're not allowed to play our teams, or the SEC does the same, there's no reason for them to join a conference at this point in time. Now, I know the big thing people bring up is the fact that they can't earn a bye. And I push back on that because I want you to think about this. So if you are in conference, right, and Notre Dame still plays a tough schedule. They still play SEC teams. They still play Big Ten teams. They play a full ACC slate. So they're going to still get in the playoffs no matter what. I mean, they have the brand. They're going to have the quality opponents as long as they don't lose 3 games. I mean, 10-2 might not get them in because they won't have that conference championship. I promise you, Notre Dame goes 11-1, they'll never be below 12th. I promise you that. But if they do go 10-2 and they get snubbed, that might push them towards the conference. But the other thing you have to think about is if they are in a conference, right? Let's say they join the Big Ten. Okay, so now they can earn that first round bye that everybody covets. Well, in order to earn that first round bye, you have to play a conference championship game, 2 weeks before the first round of the playoffs?
Yes.
So Notre Dame, by not being in the conference, finishes their schedule the week after Thanksgiving, and they'll have 4 weeks off before the playoffs, or 3 weeks, whatever it is.
That could be wildly beneficial.
Yeah. Or they could finish their season a week later and have to play a much tougher opponent than the first round of the playoffs, usually. I mean, If you're in the Big Ten, you're talking about Ohio State and Oregon going to be fighting for like a 1 or 2 seed, maybe a 4 seed. So they're top 5 teams, both of them probably. You're going to have to go play a top 5 team to get your bye week. And then you get a week off, and then you have to play a lesser opponent because you're assuming you're going to play, if you're the 1 seed, you'll play like the 5 or whatever. Or you could be Notre Dame, not play that top 5 team in conference championship weekend, take those 3 weeks, get ready for everything. And let's say you're the 6 seed. You're going to end up playing, I think the 6 seed would play the 11.
Yeah.
So you're going to play the number 11 team in the country, not a top 10 team. Not saying that they're not a good team still, but either way, both teams, the conference champion of the Big Ten and Notre Dame in the first round of the playoffs, are going to have to play a tough team. So it's no different to me. You just get more bye weeks leading up to the playoffs, or you get more bye weeks after the conference championship. It's negligible. Now, if it ever gets to the point where the SEC and Big Ten run things so much that you can't even get into the playoffs if you're not in the conference, then they have to join the conference, obviously.
Right.
But
all right.
we are pushing way past the hour mark here, so let's jump through some things here. We'll leave the offensive line stuff till next week. I'll give a quick recruiting update, and then we'll get out of here. Because there's not a lot of movement on the Deuce Knight front. I know a lot of people are expecting some movement, but Deuce Knight, nothing's happened. Marcus Freeman and a bunch of staffers had a Zoom call with Deuce Knight on Tuesday. At this point, Notre Dame fans, no news is good news. The feeling right now across Notre Dame beat and across the coaching staff, they're very aware of the situation. They know what's going on. The feeling right now is Knight could flip as early as tomorrow, maybe next week. But every report I've seen says that he's still planning to hold his commitment throughout the season. Now, why is that important? Notre Dame, if he holds his commitment to the start of the season, Notre Dame gets an opportunity to show him on the field why he should go to Notre Dame, which makes that Texas A&M game week 1 massive. I mean, absolutely massive. Because right now what he's being sold is the South. Stay home in the South, earn your money, play against SEC talent. Well, if Notre Dame goes to Texas A&M, beats Texas A&M and SEC school, they can switch that narrative and be like, see, we can compete with SEC talent. We just beat them. And that flips the whole narrative. So over the next 23 days, it's very important for Notre Dame to hold that commitment. I be honest with you, I don't think they do. I think he's going to flip. And this is, if you've watched the show at all, you know this is a major shift in my mentality. I was steadfast that he's not going anywhere. We got this. Over the past week, I don't know. And a lot of beat reporters are with me now, and they're saying, I feel like he's going to flip. So if he flips, it'll be okay. But he hasn't done anything yet. So just don't freak out. No news is good news.
Well, I'll just, not to toot my own horn, the beat has been behind us ever since we've started this.
Yeah.
With every concern that we've had, every question that we've raised, they are like 2 months behind us. And I'm just glad to see Carter has fell into the lead.
I don't want to.
But I did get an update on that, and I will discuss that with you off the air.
Okay. And last thing I'll say before we get out of here, Notre Dame fans, put this name in your brain. Watch it. I'm going to call it. I don't know if it's right, but I've heard some rumblings. Raiden Vines-Bright, 4-star wide receiver, currently committed to Washington. After Notre Dame lost Derek Meadows, they put the full court press on this kid. And I've heard from some people that I trust that it was a solid commitment to Washington a month ago. It's now about 50-50. So if he flips to Notre Dame, which I'm not saying will 100% happen, but I'm saying there's a decent chance he flips to Notre Dame.
We will see. I'll do some digging on my end on that and see what I can come up with. But with that, Carter, can you hang around for about 5 minutes after the show, and we will end the show. And everybody watching out there, please hit the like and subscribe button. Be a friend, tell a friend. We'll probably go twice again next week. Got to figure out the Twitter machine. For some reason, we're not live on Twitter. So
absolutely. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Do me a favor. Go ahead and share this in your group chat. Share it everywhere. Let's get this going. We want to really blow this up. In season, we're going to have film breakdowns. We're going to have recaps of the previous game, previews of the next game. We're going to have all kinds of stuff for you guys to get ready. We're going to continue talking national landscape, Midwest football, but we're going to focus on Notre Dame, obviously. But just tune in with us, help us out, get some subscribers in here, get your friends in here. Let's get the chat popping. I love seeing people in the chat and interacting with you guys. So thank you so much, guys. And like he said, like and subscribe, share it, do your duty. Appreciate everybody.
All right. You guys have a good night.